Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. We're going to take a look at Stellar Lumens, XLM. And just before we do, we usually look at Bitcoin, but I can kind of quickly summarize for you. It's right around 66, 67,000, right in that range, kind of hovering closer to 67 right now. And ultimately doing very well, all things considered. I think the one-day candlestick will close above 67 for a second day in a row. So awesome stuff there. We could expect a breakout to the upside soon, all things considered. So before we take a look at Stellar XLM, I just want to thank you so much to my patrons for requesting that I cover this. More importantly, thank you just so much for being awesome. I really, really appreciate you. You make these charts much more valuable, right? Because it's not just for me, it's for everyone, and it's great. So thanks again. If you're not already a member, please consider subscribing, of course, because I actually do have a trading community / signal group where I send out signals for every single trade that I take, but more importantly, I help educate others on how to become better traders. Right? One trade at a time. So taking a look here at Stellar XLM, I can see a pretty obvious resistance line here. Let's go ahead and just throw that on there first. Looks like the price is potentially going to test that level here soon. Now let's go ahead and look at some of the more traditional indicators, and we'll go ahead and obviously Fibonacci the charts out and just kind of see what's going on overall. That's not the only thing you want to look at, of course, but everything together makes a good, a good analysis, I guess, for lack of better terms. So taking a look here at the one-day chart. We're above both moving averages. This is fantastic. The 50 is moving to intersect with the actual 200-day simple moving average here soon, right? If that happens, that could kind of create what is referred to as a golden cross. That's a very good sign. So this could be a consideration to add to your position or take entries soon based on that sentiment alone, just because in most cases, even though I don't love the fact that this happens, the price just shoots up out of nowhere because of that sentiment, right? And that's an eventuality at this point, unless the price goes straight down in the next couple of days, right? So just keep that in mind. That's kind of what's going on. And it does make sense for XLM to finally start taking off because it is at the point where, it's it's probably like, just pissed off and ready to go, if that makes any sense. Not like it's an entity by any means, but we do have a pretty good high point here, right around 80 cents that we could get upwards of. And I believe that's the highest point. Could be wrong, but at least on this chart here, that's what we're at. Correct me if I am wrong, though. If there's another all-time high higher than 80 cents, go ahead and comment below. Let me know. But on this Binance chart, that's kind of what we're looking at. Now, looking at the, oh, this is cool. I love this. When the 50 works as a support level in the RSI, it kind of creates a bounce, right? So that basically happened here as well. And we likely had a MACD convergence too. Yep. So those two things happen, obviously. It creates kind of a perfect storm in that sense. That's why the price continued upwards, but also the simple fact that the 50 was working as a support level, which is excellent. Okay. Now keep in mind the RSI at 70 does commonly work as a resistance too. So it doesn't necessarily mean that it's foolproof in the fact that it's just going to keep going up. It could resist out, and that resistance could be just this line right here, right around 42, 43 cents. That could be it. So let's take a look at the 4-hour chart and kind of see what's going on here. So with the 4-hour chart, we can see some obvious things as well here. We've got a pretty solid state of exhaustion here. Now, it doesn't mean it won't continue, but it shouldn't, right? For lack of better terms, when you see here, we got a 1 through a 9. TD sequentials basically telling us at this point, these three dotted lines, we hit our highest point, and we should expect a retracement or a consolidation. It's going up still, right? So that's good. Don't get me wrong, not terrible, but the likelihood of it continuing upwards from here is fairly low unless it's KDA, right? So there's some coins that just go bonkers regardless. I don't think XLM is one of those, but I still believe that this is a very positive sign, right? But we should expect some type of consolidation or retracement soon based on that sentiment alone, because we are now roughly 9 candlesticks into overtime when we should have reversed or, essentially consolidated a long time ago. Now it's good. It makes sense because obviously it was pushed down pretty hard here previously, but just generally what we need to understand. All right, so that's kind of a big picture there for TD sequential on the 4-hour. RSI is over 70 on the 4-hour chart as well. That's pretty standard. We did have a MACD convergence here back right around on November 7th at 5 a.m. Okay, so we just got this guy here. We'll mark that, see where it looks on the 1-hour chart. And go ahead and move on here. Let's go ahead and quickly peek at the Ishimoku cloud. And big surprise, the cloud, pretty much the price broke right above the cloud, not any less than, 2 or 3 hours after the MACD convergence on the 4-hour chart. And what happens is the MACD convergence is basically telling us that the price is essentially, it's shifting momentum from bearish to bullish, right? So that's why you see these lines down here, right? The green lines aren't just for fun. They basically tell us that we have a large amount of volume bullishly versus bearish, and that shift in momentum when the 12 intersects with the 26 in upward fashion, that gives you that little sweet spot, so to speak, where you can kind of quickly identify if the price is turning around, for lack of better terms. Okay, and then when you have that concurrent with a Ishimoku cloud breakthrough where the price breaks above the cloud, that's like a perfect storm. So had I set an alert on this, I would have been notified of this trend, and we would have been able to catch that. All right. I try to set as many alerts as I can, of course, but there's so many coins that it can be difficult. However, this is an example of what a good, better case scenario would look like. Okay? So just keep that in mind. That's fantastic. We got both those things going. Doesn't mean you want to jump in right now and do a fear of missing out, because again, we're overextended, right? I mean, we look at the 1 hour TD sequential, we'll see the same results. Well, okay, correction. We did see a reset here based on the fact that it went sideways for about 5 hours. But you can tell we're right at a 5, so best case scenario, we might have about 4 to 8 hours left of bullish momentum, and that may not be enough time to break through this resistance at 42.5 cents, right? We'll see soon, obviously, but that is kind of the takeaway here, that we're a bit on the overextended side, more so on the 4 hour chart than the 1 hour, but the 1 hour kind of, 4 1 hour candlesticks is a 1 4 hour candlestick, so it's all the same thing, right? All right, let's take a quick look at the volume, kind of see how much volume is accumulating. We had the most amount of volume down here, right about 37 cents. So there's a strong chance that's going to line up on the Fibonacci retracement as one of those stronger support levels. Furthermore, why don't we go ahead and just jump right on in to the good old-fashioned, go with this guy here. And look at that, right there with the volumes at, we can see both supports. So let's go ahead and mark that here. We're looking at about 35 cents. Secondary support is right around 36. And we're going to go ahead and mark these two as well. So we're going to mark 42 and, of course, 39. Okay. So that's kind of what we're looking at there. And then big picture here. What we want to look at here, here's the best case scenario, right? So say XLM ramps up over the next 2 weeks, right? Because it took roughly 2 weeks for the price to hit its bottom and then to come up to where it's at right now, right? So in that 2 week time frame, we saw an increase about 30%. So to get us extra 30%, right? It's next leg up here. In order for that to happen, we need to be able to see the price come up to about 55 cents, right? So that basically just tells us that we have a strong likelihood within the next 2 weeks for XLM to be roughly about 55 cents, right? And when I say strong likelihood, it's all contingent on breaking this all-time high. Sorry, not the all-time high, the most recent high, right? Basically, it couldn't break that resistance level previously on the 16th of October, and here again today, it's kind of getting studded out, even though it hasn't fully hit that yet, right? So the bottom line here is 43 cents or higher when the price passes that point. More specifically, hopefully on the 1 day chart, then we can kind of identify that, hey, this is definitely bullish. It's definitely broke its most recent high, and then we can consider adding to our position. Not to say it's a bad idea to do that right now, because I do think it's just an eventuality before XLM gets to that point, right? But you might be able to get a better price, at, somewhere closer to support at about 40 cents, maybe even 38 cents, if of course you're a little bit patient and you wait, right? Now, granted, you can definitely wait too long and miss out on the opportunity. That does happen. So if you want to, take a position now, I might recommend a smaller position, dollar cost average if the price goes down and or if it goes up, right? Just try to buy closer to support levels. So that way you can always find the best value. So that's kind of where you're at. And obviously, too, make sure when you jump in, and this is for my patrons as well, always try to set 3 profit targets, right? Coinstats helps you with that, of course. Trading bots are more ideal in that situation because most larger exchanges don't allow for that. Unfortunately, that's kind of a sad state of things, but set 3 profit targets, and those profit targets you shoot for should be just below the resistance levels. So for example, you might want to do it at 44 cents instead of 45 cents, right? Maybe shoot for 54 cents instead of 54.5 cents. There's a way of actually doing that really makes sure that you maximize your gains, but don't get too greedy and just make profit target 1 the top here, right? That's all well and good, but if it doesn't come up there and it stops shy about 51 cents, you're never going to get filled. So there's kind of a happy medium. That's why 3 profit targets is ideal. Trailing stop loss that moves up with your targets. That's also recommended as well. And all that's built into my signals that I send to my community members. So obviously, if you're not part of that, that would be just kind of an easy philosophy, because that's just kind of how I teach things, of course. But everyone does things different. So work your own magic in that sense. It's perfectly fine. You want to develop your own trading style. So, again, big picture, summarizing, 55 cents is a better case scenario in the next 2 weeks, perhaps just say month end, but we definitely need to break that resistance level about 43 cents first to see what happens next. And then obviously, we can kind of take it from there. So I'm going to set an alert here right around, just say 54, no, correction, sorry, 43 cents, just to see once it breaks that, oh, sorry, a little too tight. Anyways, I'll go ahead and set an alert here for more so 44 cents when it breaks that resistance level. And we can go ahead and get that notification. All right. It's stuck on stupid right now. Apologize for that. But regardless, you get the point, right? Set your targets right at the resistance level and kind of see what happens when it breaks that resistance. We pay closer attention to see if it closed on the one-day candlestick and then continue on from there. Okay, so I'll just make sure we take a closer look at this here again soon. I might take a peek at it tomorrow again, just to be on the safe side, because it's obviously moving, and I think that it will have potential to hit its all-time high this year, which I think was roughly 80 cents. And that's almost 2x from now, right? That'd be awesome. So this looks like a good swing trade, hodl trade. So I hope you have a good rest of your day. Thank you so much for taking your time to watch this here. Have a good one. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.